Hi everybody and welcome to Cartooning Animals with Alicia Dianne Art. I am Alicia Dianne and I hope that you guys are having a great day, a great Monday, and a great week. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. I mean, we're one day late, but we're not too bad. So let's go ahead and jump in. I want to see if I can switch my view. Here we go. So you guys can look along with me to this video here. I'm going to be showing you guys oh I was putting the text in at this point, but I can just jump up this part ahead. There we go. Okay, so I did some cartooning buffaloes this morning. You guys can look along. I just did a Google search of buffaloes through Google imagery. So I mean, you guys can find references for your images anywhere on the internet that you like, any books that you like to use. Maybe I'll have to incorporate some book reference drawing if that's a possibility in the near future. Get a sip of coffee. So I typed in buffalo. I was thinking, I had in my mind for bison, but I wasn't caught up on only bisons. So I knew originally that just doing a Google search for buffalo would show me a variety of different, I don't know, cow type species. So we have some American bison, we have some Cape buffalo, and we even have some different, there were some Asian buffaloes. I'm not sure what the official name for them is called, but I can probably look that up. But there is a specific type of an Asian buffalo. Maybe I can find it. Asian domestic water buffalo. Okay, so water buffalo is what they're called, domestic water buffalo. So I got all three: the Cape buffalo, the American bison, and the water buffalo. Okay. So anyway, I did not go into it with any sort of idea of what I was going to make the personality. I wanted to do it kind of how I do it at the zoo. Okay, I'm just drawing cartooning animals at the zoo, which I would just go straight into making a little caricature of the animal. It's no expectation, there's no like trying to do anything specific with the animal. My nose is, I've been having a little bit of a cough. I know, corona, so let's hope not. But I didn't want to have any expectation. I just wanted to do what I would naturally do at the zoo today. I do go back and forth between this sort of a style, just kind of like a, I guess I would call it a freestyle. I guess that would be the word for it, like a freestyle, and then like a more like intentional, I don't know if I even like that word for it, more of a, I guess, specific type of caricature, which would be, I already pick out the personality, already kind of create sort of a backstory for it. You can give your animal like, you can go into it thinking of a certain type of personality, a certain type of emotion, a certain type of career or lifestyle for the caricature that you're doing, and that works for humans or animals. But for this one, I just wanted to go ahead, maybe I can just jump ahead to this saving part. Know about all of that. But that will give you a very, I guess, a more humanoid version, or anthropomorphic, my fancy word. You can make a more anthropomorphic type of animal, but I just wanted to make a caricature of the little animal. So this is what I just started doing. This is the first one. I did several of them, but you can see I started with the face. I typically start with the face when doing the caricatures, and I just wanted to, I think I went back and forth with the body because I was going, I think originally I was kind of making it more on the realistic side for the body, and just like, I think I had a change of taste. I wanted to make it a little bit more cartoony, so we'll see how that all pans out. Some people make a very scribbled sketch their first go around, I'm realizing more and more that my original sketches are not incredibly scribbly. I've even been told, like, when showing my rough drawings to for portfolio reviews, like, okay, where's your rough drawing? Where's your first drawing of this? And I'm like, oh, this is my first drawing. This is my rough drawing. I just typically am not very. I think my rough drawings are still pretty rough, but they're not scribbly. So I mean, I think it depends on, I guess, your taste, or your more, not necessarily your taste, but more so your comfort level. I mean, some people need to like kind of feel around the paper a bit, or the canvas a bit, or the application um, canvas. So I think I don't think it determines necessarily your end result. I've seen professional artists start with very, very scribbly drawings, and then there's others that kind of go in like me and kind of have like a um, I don't know what would be the proper word for it, but I guess kind of creating like a skeleton of it. I don't know. I guess I would call it sort of a skeleton, just kind of finding your line around what you're drawing. I don't know how else to describe it. But basically, what I'm trying to say is there's no right or wrong. There's no perfect way to do it. Your rough drawing is going to be your rough drawing. I mean, pretty much it doesn't really matter necessarily how rough or loose you do it, but I think as you feel comfortable, then you can just add your layers and add a cleaner version of it, and you don't have to worry about necessarily how loose or rough your first original drawing is. I started off with some figure drawing this morning. I tend to notice that my drawing feels a lot more comfortable when I start with figure drawing and just get a couple of loose drawings out of the way first. I don't know, not every artist does warm-up drawings, but I feel more confident and I feel better drawing when I've done some warm-up drawings. And for me, warm-up drawing is figure drawing. So I did that today. I don't do it every time, especially like when I was going to the zoo, because I don't necessarily always have the time, depending on how my morning is going and how much extra time I have. But today I wanted to kind of make sure I did it, and I just kind of started the day doing the rough drawings. I think I've always tried to give credit to my references. I've always been pretty open about where I get my references from, obviously with Google or with Pinterest. You might not necessarily know who the artist is or who the photographer was who took the original drawing, but I'll always say, hey, I found these images from Google, or I found these images from Pinterest, or from whatever the source is, and not just saying, oh, hey, these are my photographs, and I'm just drawing from my photographs. So, that in mind, you can always run into issues with copyright and things like that, and so, I don't know, I got an email like saying something about like copyright usage. So I'm trying to clear that up right now. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm pretty sure that I've always given references to whoever I'm sketching from. So I would just recommend that when you're using references, which every artist uses references, try your best to give credit or just say where you got it from, because I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing, because I mean, especially with us who are making drawings, we need some place to draw from. We always need some place to draw from, especially if we want to get better, and especially when things are closed, like the zoos are closed right now. So I don't have the, I guess, what is it called, privilege, I guess, to go to the zoo and draw as I would normally do, which I would like to do, which I will be starting to do again. Thankfully, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, I think I did, that LA Zoo is going to be opening. I think they have a tentative date. I don't think they have a solid date, but they are scheduled to reopen sometime in July. I don't know if wherever you are, your zoos are open again yet, but hopefully they'll all be opening back sooner than later. So the first one I did was a Cape Buffalo, and now I'm going in for the bison. I don't know if you guys can see. I think you guys can see pretty well. Yeah, I'm using that bison over there. I don't know if you guys can see that one. It's my reference. But I had to do a couple of do-overs with those ones because I don't know, depending on how you hold your stylus, with certain pen tools you'll get different types of pressure, so just something to be aware of if you're maybe newer to using digital, or that's something I can talk about too that I was thinking of, or if you're thinking of starting to work digitally. And that thing that I was just talking about that I want to get into is like digital versus traditional. What's better, digital versus traditional? I think this kind of debate or argument or conversation has been going on for, I guess, as long as digital has been around. I love New York. I do love New York, but it's complicated. We have an estranged relationship. Let me think. Get back to my point. I think as long as digital has been around, which I don't know, it has to be, I want to assume about 30 years, roughly. People have been working digital. I don't know. I want to say like CG was probably around before digital drawing was around. I don't know if that's a fact, but I kind of think that 3G was around before. And by 3D I mean like, I'm not saying it right. CG. I combined 3D with CG and I put 3G, but that's phone connection, so I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to say. So I think that CG has been around, and CG just means like making 3D art basically in a computer. So like it's Pixar type of thing. That's been around since the 80s, at least probably the 70s. I want to say 70s because video games were invented in the 70s, and that's all done with 3D art. So, or actually, is it 2D? It's 2D art, but you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain that. That's kind of confusing, isn't it? Like video gaming, the first video gaming is that it's computer generated, but it's 2D. So that's kind of confusing. So I want to say, anyway, but it's not digital drawing. Well, how would you call that? I'm confused. Anyway, so roughly since the 70s or 80s, computer generated art has been being made. So anyway, I want to stick to the point. The point is like people have been debating like what's better, is it 2D or 3D? Is making computer generated art not really art? Does someone who's working digitally like I am here drawing on a Cintiq, is that not really drawing? Is that not really painting? If I was to take this little buffalo guy here and paint him, would that really not be painting? I'm asking you. Because I mean, I think the for me, why that became a question of late is because I was looking at this artist. I'm not going to mention her name, but she's a painter and she works traditionally on oil and canvas. And you guys know me for a little while. I work on basically every medium. I've done gouache, watercolor, charcoal, color pencil, marker, acrylic, oil, pastel. I've worked on every traditional medium, I think. Obviously, not all of them in the same extent, but I want to say probably acrylic is probably acrylic and watercolors have been my. I don't want to say acrylic and watercolors have been the most my preferred, I guess, traditional mediums, are my most extensive traditional mediums. So I've done like all of those things, but I really still enjoy, and I've always enjoyed, and it's probably my most used at this point is working digitally. Not because I think it's better, but because it works with what I'm interested in, I guess. I feel like it's hard to kind of separate working digitally and working in a cartooning format, because I kind of feel like cartooning and even any form of the animation process or has to do with these days with working digitally. I mean, even visual development and design and character design, I think it's hard to kind of separate digital, because that's kind of just the way that the industry is right now. So I think I do spend a lot of time working digitally. I like the feel of working digitally, and I like the way that it complements my portfolio. I guess that's the best way I can say, or that's the best thing I can think about right now. But I really like this buffalo, actually. I think I might color him. He's kind of funny looking. He's kind of I don't know, there's something charming about him. But anyway. Um, oh yeah, back to my point that I was trying to make before that I didn't actually make. I was just looking at this artist and actually admired, I still admire the artist, but I was just put off by the comment because someone said she was, I guess, doing a campaign for Apple. Maybe that's probably giving it away if you follow this artist. But, and she was doing some iPad sketching. And I guess she did like 2 different iPad sketches. The first one, I guess she was just getting used to it and wasn't as, I don't know, wasn't as experienced, I guess. So she did like another one, and actually came out quite nice. The second digital painting that she did with the iPad, it came out pretty nice, and it was very much in her own style that she uses for her oil paintings. And she just posted it, and she kept on putting like the caption like playing around, or like playing around with digital, just playing in digital, like just using this word playing, and somebody commented like, oh, digital artists wish they could paint like you, or something like that, and it's just kind of like unnecessary to like kind of like compare artists like that. I just think that it's kind of, I don't know, it's just unnecessary. And I think, and it's fine, people comment, you know, the comment section, obviously people comment whatever they're going to comment, and, you know, I guess it doesn't really matter what an onlooker comments, because it's just an onlooker and people say all kinds of things, but it's what the artist or the person, you know, puts back that kind of gives weight to it. And so someone commented like, oh, digital artists wish that they could paint like you, and she put it back like, oh, I have fun like playing with digital, but I always prefer the real thing. And everyone has like, I guess, the option, or their preference, I guess, is the best word. Everyone has the right to their own preference and their right to like what they enjoy doing, what they love doing, and like but I just have issue, I guess. It's not like I'm upset or like offended or anything, because I like to work in all different types of mediums, but just I take issue when people, I guess, compare in a way where there's like a hierarchy between one versus the other. I don't like that. I experienced that a lot when I was in art school. I just told you guys, if you guys weren't aware, that I just finished a master's degree in illustration. I say illustration quotes because the program was not really an illustration program, it was a fine arts program, and I was the illustrator in the fine arts program. And I got a lot of slack, I guess, or like a lot of like disgruntled looks and opinions and comments because of the work that I did do it digitally. It was just kind of like, it's always kind of like this like thing like, this is not really a painting, this is digital, so that makes it not a painting. I think if you're painting in digital, then you're painting in digital. I've seen amazing artists paint digitally, and I've seen amazing artists paint in oils and in charcoal and in every other medium. I don't think that It's